So I am going to start with a brief introduction of our guest. But before I do that, my usual little commercial break is to remind you of our topic for financial wellness for women that's coming up next month. And we always like to have an estate planning attorney come at least once a year. So next month is the month. On November 10th, we'll be talking wills, trusts, and private fiduciary services, common questions and answers. That'll be Heather Parker on Tuesday, November 10th from 9:30 to 10:30. And today we have a very fun topic. I think I'm looking forward to learning, things I'm sure I've been doing wrong. And Clarisse is going to talk to us about avoiding mistakes when we go clothing shopping. Clarisse, just a brief introduction, is an image consultant, and she's the owner of Clarisse Color Creations. It's an Arizona-based image consulting business, providing in-person and online these days styling services. She's a licensed fashion feng shui master, working with individuals and groups. And as a master facilitator, she's teaching other women and men, I should note, the art of wardrobe wellness styling. She's a certified essential colors consultant, and she's going to help us understand today's, not decades ago, colors for women and men, providing a personalized, mind-blowing palette of colors to wear in clothing and makeup. And I'm sure she will end the program being sure that we understand her very intriguing 3 Steps to Gorgeous, the Only Way It Works program as well. So with that, Clarisse, I'll let you take it away, and you can let me know when I should be pulling up your slides.
Yeah, go ahead. Thank you. Thank you for everyone attending. I really appreciate it.
Okay, I'm going to get this to a full screen.
Great.
And everybody might want to put themselves on speaker view to see the slides the best. There we go. Everybody can see the slides?
Somehow I messed up. Oh, there I am.
Do you see the slides?
Okay. Yes, right.
Okay, great. Okay. Go ahead, Clarisse.
Thank you. Thank you, Marie, and thank you for inviting me. And it's wonderful to meet all the ladies here. And I really appreciate what all of you do. And I know that you talk about financial wellness, and I talk about wardrobe wellness. So this presentation is the 5 most common mistakes when made when shopping with clothes. Okay, go ahead and advance it.
Oop. Sometimes there's a delay. There we go.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. And I am frequently asked, because I am 75 years old, and this is my retirement business. I was a paralegal for 31 years, and people often ask me how I got interested in styling. And the answer is, when I was a very young woman, a new mother, I was a certified yoga teacher, and I was humiliated over something I wore in public. And it took me, the remark was so cutting to me personally that, you know how you sit there and you're trying to swallow the tears, and I made it my goal to seek out some professional help, because I didn't know anything about styling. I knew nothing about makeup. I knew nothing about putting together clothes. I was shopping trends. I also had the wrong hair color. And this came at a time when my daughter became ill, and I had to go back to work to help pay for the bills. And so I borrowed the money from my mother because I was going to make investment in clothing. And I went to go get color draped, and we were talking, Marge and I were talking. It was 1981. And the image consultant that did that for me, it was like Pandora's box opening up. The first thing she told me was my hair was the wrong color and I needed to change it back to my skin tone, that it would be better with my skin tone. She took me through styles of clothing that I needed to wear for my body. And she gave me my palette of colors and helped me go down to the department store and help me buy the makeup that I needed. And it was a wonderful experience. And that's much of what I do for my clients today. So I have provided you a handout about women's body shapes, because I can give you the right colors to wear according to your skin tone, but I also need to teach you what type of clothing you need to buy for your body. Because for me, it's all about fit and about color. So let's begin. So the first shopping mistake most everybody generally makes, me included, we buy too big, too loose, or too boxy. So let's talk about those body shapes. So the first body, this is a fashion feng shui description. The first body is called a teardrop or water. And this is a woman that has a very small top, but has a little bit larger bottom, or sometimes it's a larger bottom. I've had clients that are in size 2 that have this body shape, and I have clients that are size 3X that are in this body shape. So the recommendation is that you do wear, clothing that's very close to the top, and you allow flow on the bottom half of your body. The second body is the rectangle or completely straight, and they have very elongated arms and legs, not much of a waist at all. They may have a slight one, but typically they're straight on their sides. This is the body shape that all the clothing manufacturers are making for this body. It's the model shape. So if you don't have this body, you are a little bit limited as to the resources where you can go find clothing. You will often see when in the mall, if we ever go back to the malls, where there's a big clip in the back of dresses holding the dress in because it's virtually a shift dress, but they're trying to make it look like a shapely dress. If you're shopping online, this is a very tunic, it's very elongated, they're shift style dresses, and you get this at home and it doesn't fit you well, you really need to send it back, because right now I'm doing a lot of wardrobe analysis for clients, and they have clothing with the tag still on, so I'm encouraging them to take it back. The next body is the inverted triangle or the cone. This woman has very broad shoulders and very large bust. And she's very narrow on the bottom half of her body, and she does have a distinctive waistline. So the best way to honor this body is to actually, boat necks, asymmetrical necklines, but very skinny jeans, pencil skirts, straight on the bottom. I recently worked with a client who has this body, and she remarked, because A-lines, it has to be a soft A-line if it's an A-line, not anything with boxy pleats at the waistline, which was typically, because she's a taller woman, very large busted, that was the kind of bottom she was wearing. And I said, no, you need to wear straight skirts. It made a huge difference on how she presented to her clients. And she's a keynote speaker and on the stage. The next one is the earth. It's the very sturdy body. These women are typically 5 foot or under, maybe 5'1" and under. They have a very broad middle area. Boxy things look good on them, but on the rest of us, maybe we're buying things that are too boxy and too short-waisted, which is typically what the tops look like today. So we call this a sturdy body. They like elasticized waistlines on their trousers and on their skirts. The last body is the shapely body. This woman typically can be high-waisted, has sloping shoulders, and it's really like 2 circles. She has a very distinctive waistline. Her shoulders line up with her hip line, and she does have a waist. So the best way to honor this body is like ruching, where the eye is taken and the waist is created, or slightly wrapped dresses. This woman cannot wear a belt larger than 1 inch because she's typically high-waisted. So the belts, very wide belts, are right up against her rib cage, and it prevents her from breathing. So, okay, the next slide, please. So these are samples of clothing that if you have a water body, meaning you're small on top and you're wider on the bottom, especially the last dress on the far right, that is the perfect dress for this body, because you can see it's tight on the top, but it flows away from the body. The middle also is a very drapable fabric, a gauze or something flowy, silky. The one on the left is also a good one. These people typically like really creative type clothing. They like the chunky boots. They love the unusual jewelry, the purses, the accessories. Okay, let's go on to the next one. So this is the straight, the wood, the rectangle body. So you can see that the dress in the middle is a shift dress. They like elongated pants. They also like stripes and florals, and medium draped fabrics look best on this body. They also have a tendency to love comfortable clothing, or they won't put it on. So they typically buy athletic inspired clothing or very casual clothing. Next one. So here's the fire body, the very strong shoulder line and maybe the larger bust. This requires very structured body conscious garments because it flatters that cone-like shape. A V neckline or an open neckline, short skirts, narrow hipped pants look best on this body because the shoulder width or the bust width is so large that we actually have to honor that inverted cone. Typically these ladies like bright colors, usually red and purple, but not necessarily that. Could be any bright color that they love wearing, but they love to have attention getting clothing. So they like, they like to show some skin. Next one. And here's the earth body, very structured. They love boxy clothing. Apple, the oval or the O, they have short, full torsos. They do not like trends. They like standard traditional clothing. Monochromatic, especially if you're short, is best for you because nothing breaks on the eye. From the top of your head to the tip of your toe, it's the same color, so you tend to look longer. Also, if you are 5 foot or under, capri pants or crop pants are not recommended. You really need your trousers to go down to your shoe or your boot line because you don't want to cut off your leg. Okay, the next one. And the metal body, the figure X, the figure 8 or the X, typically they're delicate in appearance. They have the very curvy silhouette. Semi-fitted or slightly waisted clothing is best for them. Very drapable fabrics such as crepe or wool jersey looks great on this body. They love elegance and orderly appearance. And they sometimes like designer clothing. Not always, but typically they touch their fabric before they buy it because that's what they do in order to feel the fabrication of it. Okay, next slide. So the next mistake that we make is about color. And I will say that with all the online shopping that's going on, the color looks one way on the computer, but actually when you get it, it's a different color. And if it doesn't look good against your skin, please return the garment. So the way you can get a good feel for if you're wearing the right colors, if people say to you, didn't you get enough sleep last night? Or aren't you feeling well? Is a reflection that you're not wearing the right colors because they're taking all the color directly out of your face and your skin. Okay, next slide. So our skin temperature is either warm, cool, or neutral. Now there's an undertone to that. It can be slightly pink, it can be slightly olive, it can be slightly golden, it can be slightly muted or pale, but typically warm, cool, or neutral colors and skin tone is what each one of us have. Next slide. So when I talk about what hue of color, the best way to judge this too, if you consistently wear an article of clothing and people say to you, I love that color on you is the key phrase, try to figure out what hue it is because those are the best hues that look good against your skin tone. So when we talk about saturated colors, those are like crayons. They're very bright and the color is very deep, true primary colors, just like the box of crayons that we all got when we went to kindergarten. You take those saturated crayon colors and put white under them, they become tinted They're also very bright. They tend to be bright pastels, or what we know as jewel tone colors. If you take those saturated colors and add brown under them, they become toasted, and they're warmer shades of the tinted version. If you take them and put black under them, the colors become shaded. And if you put gray under them, they become muted. So what hues of colors do you look best in? And it could be a true hue or a combination of hues. So let's go to the next slide. So here are skin tone colors. This is a very bad slide, but to give you an idea that people with very dark skin, they can have warm, neutral, or cool shades of their skin tone. The next wand is the olive. People come in my studio and they go, I have olive skin. And I go through this where I judge what color their skin actually is. And it doesn't necessarily have to be olive. If you have olive skin, you've got a greenish cast to it. Whereas golden skin, which is two to the right, is actually golden. It has a gold undertone to it. The middle one is we call fire skin. Now, this is a woman who has naturally pigmented pinkish undertone to her skin, but not rosacea. People confuse skin tone because there's rosacea on the top of it, and that's a medical condition. And you know, those women are usually wearing a green base, a primer to put under their foundation to cool down that redness. The last one is very light, pale, opaque, almost translucent skin, and very ivory, very pale. Next one. So this is about incorrect and correct hues. We all know this man. His name is Dennis Haybet, and he is the Allstate guy. And we see him everywhere. And you can tell, I can tell from the slide on the right that he has very warm skin. So when he's in the gold and with a saturated black t-shirt, his skin looks glowy and it's very evened out. In the blue, which is too cool for him, you can see he has under eyes, his marionette lines are more pronounced, and he doesn't look as warm or as approachable as he does in the warm gold jacket. Next. Now, this is Drew Barrymore. She's just started a talk show, and she has very warm skin as well. Now, she, on the left slide, she's wearing a color that's going to be very, very popular. It's called magenta purple. Very cool, very shaded. Now, she doesn't look as good in that color as she does against the warm background and the little brown and almond oil shirt she has on. And the reason is, one is cool and one is warm. If you look at her in the cooler colors, of course, her neck doesn't look good, but she also looks tired around her eyes. Her under eyes are, you know, more enhanced. And she just doesn't look as healthy as she does in the warmer colors. Next slide. Now this was a judge on So You Think You Can Dance, and she's a Canadian choreographer. Her name was Lorianne Gibson. Here again, she has very warm skin. So on the slide on the left, she's in cool colors, and you can see the shadows on her skin are very pronounced because the cool color is reflecting against her skin tone and not making her look really good. She's wearing, on the right, she's wearing the gold hoodie. She looks better in the warmer colors because that's the tone of color she should be wearing. Next slide. So this is a husband of one of my friends. Now he has olive skin, and you can see that in the slide on the left, it's not bad, but he looks much better in the tinted version of that color than he does in the toasted version. And that's because that is too warm for his skin, even though he has warm skin. So you can see where the correct hue can make a huge difference in something as apparent as this. Okay, next slide. So here's actually an essential color analysis correction. The young lady has very light skin. She wore a gray t-shirt, and this is way too muted for her skin tone. When we put her in the warmer colors, of course, we put makeup on her, but she is in warm, toasted shades of a palette, and she looks so beautiful in these shades. And this is the palette that she was given. Next slide. Now here is another woman who has lighter skin than even the girl in the previous slide. And I do want to say that most women that I meet in networking or in other functions at lunches, and they know what I do, you know, they will ask me a lot of questions. The first question well, what do you think about what I'm wearing today? And I always say, well, do I have your permission or do you want to take this offline? I mean, I've learned over the years. But so many women tell me that black is their go-to color. Now, here's a real good example of why black is not this woman's color. If it's on your palette, by all means, you can wear it. But if it isn't, there's ways to wear black as we age. And please email me and ask me for my handout about how to wear the color black. When we color draped her, we put her in muted, toasted colors as well, which were better for her skin tone and made her look more evened out. If you can see the difference that on the left, her under eyes and her skin, the color is being drained because the black is a shaded saturated color. It's taking the color out of her face. When we put her in a warmer muted blue, of course, she looks better and she thrives. There's more of an even skin tone to her color and her skin. Okay, next. So because I don't do seasonal color anymore, so many women are used to summer, fall, winter, spring. I do it by hues of colors. This is my personal palette. And my palette is slightly tinted and slightly toasted. This is very different from how I was color draped in 1981. This color draping happened last year when I went to Boston and worked with my advanced teacher and other people that were taking an advanced color class. And this is the palette that I was given. Now I've had 3 different palettes from the time I was 35 to the time I'm 75. So that gives you a little bit of range. That some of the colors, I'm no longer wearing the colors I got in 1981. Let's just put it that way. Okay, next slide. The third shopping mistake is pant details. So what should you watch out for with pockets, width, lengths, and fabrics? Okay, next slide. Now, one of the things that's happened since this COVID started is that everybody is working from home or they're on Zoom from home, and we're all like TV reporters. From our head to our waist, perfect. But what we're wearing on the bottom half of our body is maybe not what we should be wearing on the bottom half of our body. And everything about comfort has become the mantra for today's clothing. It has to be comfortable. I want to be comfortable. Well, cargo pants, I am not enamored with cargo pants. Never have been, and I'll tell you why. Because of where the pocket is, if you have large thighs and large hips, it makes it look larger. So here's a really good example of both of these women are not your size 2, but they're wearing cargo pants, and you can see how they're making the bottom half of their bodies look a little bit larger than they should be. Next slide. So I recommend to my clients that either go to yummy.com or betabrand.com and get a straight, a wonderful, flattering figure trouser or pant. Beta Brand has wonderful pants. They call them dress yoga, and they come in slim cut, boot cut, straight leg, and they're usually in a pointelle fabric.
Hmm.
I also know that Soft Surroundings, there's a store in the Chandler Mall, and of course online. They also have great fabrication for pants for mature women that are not denim and are not cargo pants. So they're great styles. They have a banded waist. They're pull on, comfortable, and they look good. Okay, next slide. So not too many of my clients, I have a few, but not too many wear denim. And most always they're buying not your daughter's jeans. And I guess I read an article yesterday that Oprah is, expounding about she buys her denim from there. I will say there are many ways to wear denim in a correct way for a older, mature woman. The slide on the left, it's not distressed and it's not with the, knees cut out. And it looks wonderful. When you wear denim, you don't want it to compete with the rest of your outfit. The slide on the right, wearing denim, you can always wear a colorful top that is not neutral or basic. You can put color up against your face, which I recommend. Let's all wear the colors we should be wearing. And I really love the way that looks. Okay, the next slide. So who wouldn't want to have a body like Cindy Crawford, right? But she has that straight, perfect model body. So the thing about wearing, she has her oversized t-shirt tucked in to show her waistline, and that would be the correct way to wear denim. The other one with Katie Holmes, don't wear ill-fitting skinny jeans at any cost. Well, one, they're not comfortable. But you want to have a skinny jean that is very well fitted. And from what I understand, Not Your Daughter's Jeans has a great version. So next slide. So what do I talk about denim, about being well fitted? First of all, don't wear bling on the back of your pockets because it emphasizes a place in your body you may not want to have emphasized right now. But the pocket should be well above the smile line of the derriere. So this is a really good fit. It's also a flat pocket, and it really looks good on this body shape. What I recommend is mesmerized pants. And mesmerized pants, they're washable, they're stretchable. They come from size, 0 to size 16. The denim in the mesmerized pants, you have to size up. For whatever reason, it's the stretch is not as allowable as in some of the other pants. These pants I have in every color. They're my favorite pant. They're lightweighted because for me, denim, I don't know, it's too heavy for this, the Arizona weather. Even in the winter, I'll wear mesmerized rather than denim, but I love them. You can buy them at Kiss Me Kate, which is located at 44th and Camelback, or you can buy them online. It's called shopmyfairlady.com. I will say it comes in 2 lengths. If you are short, get the short version. If you are taller than 5'3", get the full length version. And they're wonderful. And they say dry clean in the label. Do not dry clean them. There's something about dry cleaning that ruins the stretchy fabrication of it. So I just wash them. I wash them on cold, hang them up, let them dry, and then I steam them. Okay, next slide. So the next shopping mistake we make is in tops. And here is where I talk about buying something too boxy. You want something flattering on the top half of your body. So let's do the next slide. So here's what I talk about too boxy. And most all of the tops being shown online, even with Amazon. You know, Amazon has a new styling part of their website, and they're selling a lot of clothes. From what I understand, since J. Crew went out of business, Amazon picked up on their clothing. So you will see a lot of J. Crew being featured on Amazon.com. But this girl she does have a rectangle body. She would have looked better if that top was longer and more tunicky for her body shape, but it is boxy, and you can see how that plays out. The girl on the right, better alignment with the longer tunic top on her body. So there's where you have, if you're wearing it too short and boxy as compared to more of a tunic, if you have a rectangle body. Next slide. Now, if you have a body that's curvy, you want the ruching. And so here is boxy versus ruching. And this is the ruching is always good for the woman who has the very broad shoulder or the lady who has the two circles. It creates a waistline. Any type of stripe is good if it's diagonal, meaning it's creating a waist, it's taking the waist in. I find it interesting that men's shirts are vertically striped and women's blouses are horizontally striped. You have to watch where the lightest color stripe lands. If it's across the bust line or across the derriere, you don't want that white there. So next slide. Pockets. You see a lot of blouses with pockets right at the breast. And if you are flat chested, it's not as impactful as if you have, you know, a bust line. So I'm never enamored with this because where the eye goes is directly to where those pockets are. So you may not want to have that attention drawing detail, and it just doesn't look right. I just don't, even if it has a pocket on one side, I will not buy the blouse. I love the flat panel blouse, which is featured on the white. It's just nice and, you know, just trim to the body, and it makes the body look elongated. So it's wonderful. The next slide. Even on jackets, a cargo jacket will have those pockets. Not only does she have them at the bust, she has them on her shoulders. And, you know, if you're buying this type of jacket, you have to consider that the eye of people looking at you coming into a room will go to those pockets. And so many women are concerned about their arms. You know, they don't like to wear sleeveless. They're very conscientious about their arms. You don't want to have that kind of jacket on if you've got thicker upper arms. It just doesn't look that good on you. It's always better to look for a flat panel jacket like the example on the right. Next slide. Next shopping mistake is print and print sizes. There is, thank you. When I stylize someone and they come for their color analysis, I do a key size scale, meaning this is the parameter of what's going on down here. So when you look at prints, if they're out or bigger than, you have created an optical illusion on your shirt or the detail of your shirt. So this is where the key scale is. So this is how I do it. I have some cards that I do a key size scale, and I tell everybody what it is. Most often than not, it's small to medium, meaning that it's about 1/2 inch in diameter of whatever the print, whether it's polka dots, plaids, checks, chevron, whatever it is. You don't want it wider like this. You don't want to have a big flower or something going on in the middle of your chest. Okay, next slide.
Mm.
So here's how this plays out. The model on the left, the Chico model, she beautiful woman, very elongated body. They're both wearing stripes. So the one on the left, the pattern of the stripes, because it's kind of blocked off almost as if it were a plaid and a stripe, is it takes away, it doesn't do anything for the model and her beauty. Whereas the one on the right, even though it's more of an optical illusion, it's also on the diagonal, but it's a better stripe pattern for that model with her key size than it is on the left.
Mm.
And this is where I ruin everybody's shopping experience, because my clients will go into a fitting room with a garment. It can be the right size, the right color, but the print or the neckline will make them walk away from it. And I'm happy about that, because why invest? Clothing is very expensive. Why invest in something that you're not going to wear? It looks great on when you're in a fitting room and they're telling you how great it looks on you. And then when you get it home, you don't wear it because there's something wrong with it. And always look at the print size. Okay, next slide. Here again, the one on the left, the print on that is very large for that woman's body. Also, it's on a shape of a sweater that's not great for her body either. But when you look at her, she looks wider than she should. The lady on the right, it's very demure. It repeats enough times because you can see the length of her face and the width of her face. So the pattern isn't detracting from her beauty. So you don't want to wear something that makes you look larger than what you are. Okay, next slide. So prints can also be very bold. And I will tell you that in styling, the eye goes to the lightest, the brightest, and the highest contrast of color that you're wearing. So the outfit on the left is very bold and bright, but where does your eye go on that outfit? It goes to the white flower right above her pubic bone, because that's the brightest shade and the largest shade on that dress. The lady on the right, even though it's very bright, it's more to scale for not only her skin tone, but her body shape. So it's much more attractive, even though they're both very bright. Okay, next slide. So here is the question and answer. So if you have learned something new about your personal style, your coloring, the shape, please unmute and let's discuss any of your questions.
I have one question that I'm thinking as you're going through the beginning, just with the body shapes. Is it possible to be a combination?
Times. I just worked with a client that is very rectangle, but because she had a hysterectomy and took hormones, she has a gigantic bust line. Now, she could be a combination of both of the strong and the rectangle, but because her arms and legs are more elongated, she's not only tall, but she has very long arms and legs. We went more for the rectangle body shape. I told her that if she wants to honor the top half, that she can wear asymmetrical necklines instead of just V, which would look great on the top half of her body. But she needs to keep everything straight on the bottom half.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
What I do and what I found to be more true now than ever before, I take everybody's measurements to come. And there is a hip line measurement that goes around the derriere and the hip line, but I also take a high hip, which if there is a little bit of fat aligned above the hip line, that makes your pants, when you're ordering online, you need to size up.
Mhm,
You need to know that. So that's a great question, Marie. Thank you.
mhm.
Yes.
So, yeah, along the same lines then, I'm 5'1", so does that automatically put me in the category where you said short people belong, or?
No,
what?
no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. You can have any of the body shapes at 5'1". You look like you're very petite, but the only thing is don't wear capris or cropped pants. You need to elongate that leg and not cut your leg off. Or if you're wearing capris or cropped pants, but you're wearing a tall boot in the same color of your pants, then it's more of an elongated line on the bottom half of your body. But I've had water bodies at size 2 and water bodies at size 3X. And, you know, the way the sturdy body is, we all get that menopause after we go through menopause, and that woman gets a little bit wider around the middle half of her body, and then she has to wear boxy shirts and blazers. Yes, but that's also a great question. Thank you.
I have a question about the colorizing. I think you said you changed yours 3 times and
Yes.
in your lifetime. I was wondering, is that because the rules have changed or your skin tones changed?
My skin tone has changed. As I've aged, my skin got more sallow. And that, just like our hair grays around our face first, our skin tone gets a little bit sallow as we age. Now, if we've been sick, had any type of infusion therapy, any kind of chemotherapy, that will advance that happening in our skin tone. So
Okay.
colors that look great, you know, colors that look great on us when we were 30, 40, don't necessarily look that great when we're 50, 60, or 70.
Right. Right.
So when you,
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say, because I wondered what happened to this color thing. I remember it from, 30, 40 years ago, but I'm glad to see it's still out there.
Yes, and it has advanced. And now the big thing is to do a virtual color analysis. I do not recommend that. The computer color, the wall color, colors around you,
lighting,
your own selfie, whatever camera you're using, because I see you 3-dimensionally, a camera sees you 2-dimensionally. That is not the way to do it. So you should be getting a personalized in-person consultation to get your correct colors.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
So, where if you have pants that have, or whatever bottom has a print or stripe or whatever, but maybe it's not in, like, okay, like not the color you would put against your face maybe, and as long as the pattern's not weird, and then you put the right color against your face to go with the pants, is that acceptable at all, or does you just have to see?
Yes, no, that is acceptable. And what I do many times is I play with the opposite of the color wheel. Like, I have bright, bright yellow pants that I will wear with an olive green top or a cobalt blue top. But I will say, you have light hair, and this is the trick about when you enter a room. People's eyes go from the top of your head to the tip of your toe, back up in 3 seconds. So if I have dark hair and I'm wearing lighter pants, I wear a dark shoe, whether it's a dark brown, dark camel, black, so they go to my feet and they come back up to my face, because I want everybody up here. I don't want them analyzing, on the bottom of my body. Like, I do have a pair of white jeans. I'll do the same thing. I'll wear a beautiful bright colored top that's my color, but I'll wear a dark shoe. Now, if you have light hair, because your hair is the lightest place on your body, they'll automatically come up to a blonde or someone with gray hair. But for someone who's got dark hair, dark shoes, light hair, light shoes.
Wow.
Interesting.
Thank you.
now that's the opposite, right, of what used to be. They used to say match your shoes to your lowest clothing, your pants or your skirt color.
That's right. when I do networking, like all these gals, young gals in particular, and I have a friend that does this. She has very light skin, dark hair, and she likes to wear patterned or floral shoes. I'll tell her to put a piece of jewelry or a scarf of one of those colors in that shoe up here. So they'll go down to her shoes, but they'll come back up to her face. And like a lot of these young gals, I'll go to these networking groups at night and they'll have these LBDs on and they'll have natural colored shoes or a bone shoe, and they've got dark long hair. Focus when you do that and you get into a crowd like that. Where does your eye go? It goes down. It's the lightest color on their body. So unless they're wearing a bone, or a real blingy, and most of them don't, but if they're wearing something that will bring the eye back up, because we're all in sales of some kind, whether we're selling a product or selling ourselves or selling a service, we want people up here. It's more important, especially online with all the Zoom things. As you can see, I've designed my office, not only my logo, but I wear the colors in that sign because I do not want people not paying attention to what I say. When you're a keynote speaker and you go out and, there's a lot of socialized, social media, they give you the theme, they give you the banner, they tell you about what everybody's going to talk about. It's really important for keynote speakers to pay attention to that because you don't know if that banner is going to end up behind you. So you want to wear a complementary color to that banner or that colors that they're, advertising, or something, either a complementary or a color that's in that, something that will go with that banner. And I work with a lot of keynote speakers on dressing them for that very purpose. One time I saw, you weren't in NABO at the time when they did the women's entrepreneur workshop.
Mm-mm.
There was a big seminar when I first started in NABO, and the colors of that was olive green and hot pink. And lo and behold, we had a keynote speaker that had strawberry blonde hair, and she wore an orange dress, and that sign was behind her.
Oh.
And for me, it was an optical illusion, and it was actually an occupational thing because I didn't pay attention to anything she said because of the color differentiation that was going on. So when you're keynote speaking or you're selling or you're doing Zoom and you got a banner or a logo or a green screen behind you, wear something complimentary in front of it so that credibility is like 3 seconds now. As soon as the Zoom camera goes on, you're judged. And man, if you can't live up to what you're selling, people will not buy from you. That's my piece.
I have a question.
Sure.
As you get older, you're talking about a little bit of the water drop. Your stomach might get a little bit bigger, because, you've had kids and you gain a little weight there. So with pants, they either kind of go up or down. There's not really that definite dent of the waistline that you used to have,
Yes.
So what do you recommend about that? What type of pants or you belt your pants, but then they don't necessarily stay where you want them to,
Well, then I would look definitely at that yummy.com or a beta brand, betaband.com, because they actually have a band and they don't sag and they don't get bigger. The other, I just had a thing. It just fleetingly came in my head and went out. Gosh, I lost it. But that would be my recommendation.
Okay.
Beta Band or the betabrand.com or the Yummy. Oh, the other, I have worked with a lot of plus size ladies and they have so much trouble trying to find clothing. So there is a website called eShatki. So it's a small e, SHATKI.com. They have beautiful clothing and you can send them your measurements and it's almost customized. And they feel from like 0 to 4X and beautiful things on there. And I have a woman who is a very high powered CPA in Glendale and she's lost a lot of weight, but she found that website and got a lot of her professional clothing there. And then as she lost weight, you know, she shopped at different stores. But that's where I recommend that hard to fit ladies go and take a look at what they're offering there, and have coupons and things always going on, sales. It's a great website for that. Okay, now I do have an offer, which was my last slide. Of course, I would like to work with each one of you. If you would like to discuss personal things or your sizing, I gave you this trend report. I do it twice a year. I do spring, summer, and fall, winter. This is the handout. Please go to my website and sign up and look at my blogs and my handouts that I have there. My blog, my newsletter went out this morning, and it's about, do your clothes make you look old? And these are all the trends for the fall and winter. And Pantone does their colors. They have they're still warm, but there's a few shaded colors that are there, that magenta purple for one. But I would love to work with each and every one of you. I offer special pricing to people that attend these workshops. You can also contact me for a free 15-minute consultation to discuss things that you might have questions on that I didn't cover. If you're interested in a fashion feng shui consultation, which is really a complete wardrobe styling, it's 2 appointments. It can be done online. You take your computer into your closet and try on your clothing for me, and I design a wardrobe for you. Or if you want a essential color analysis, I have a special, especially since before Christmas. Instead of being $300, it's $325, it's $300. And people call and ask me for different things. Will I shop with them? Will I just do a in-home shop your closet? That's $50 an hour. If I do it on Zoom, it's $35 an hour. So whatever you think you might like, or if you need an upgrade in anything, just give me a call. My number, I'm in Scottsdale, but I go everywhere. My number is 602-320-2489. You can find me at ClarisseColorCreations.com. And my newsletter, if you just want to text, let me see this, 228, let me put my glasses on, I can't read the numbers. 22828, Color Creations, you automatically get signed up for my newsletter. And my styling, it's only once a month. I do a styling newsletter once a month.
Do you ever find that someone might have some color blindness?
Oh, yes.
I don't know that women have it maybe as much, but do you find that's got to be a problem for people that try to dress and look right.
I just worked with a lady last weekend. She has color blindness. She cannot tell. She sees color, but she can't tell the different hues of color. So for her to have a color palette that she shops with makes it all that simpler. And that's, that would be the recommendation. I know color blindness typically runs in men, but it was really interesting for me to work with her because she could not tell. And I have drapes, I have the drapes that I drape everybody with. And so we went through the different shading and the different hues so that she could see it, but she didn't see it at all. She just didn't see it. And it is hard for people to shop. So, she tends to buy black or white. And now she's got a whole closet full of black, gray, and white. She really wants to wear some color. But that's a great question. Thank you.
I have one other question on the colors, kind of like the body shape. Is it possible to be, like I'm thinking I'm a saturated color, but then I tend to also wear some of the burnt colors.
Yes, even my palette is slightly tinted and slightly toasted. So it's usually, and mine is warm to neutral. You can have a saturated toasted that's warm with medium values, meaning I also go through values. So you can't get it too dark, you can't get it too warm. A lot of women wear cool to neutral rather than just cool.
Mm,
Depends what this is revealing.
good, 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 good.
Okay.
Anybody else have questions for her? I found this really helpful. Really updating of, trends and things that we've learned, right? Society in general gets smarter about everything as we get older. So this was a great update. Thank you, Clarisse.
You're welcome. And it was wonderful meeting all of you. It was great. And thank you for your attention and your great questions.